Have you ever felt lost or heavy-hearted, asking yourself, why does life sometimes feel so hard? Why is peace so difficult to find? These questions are not just yours. People everywhere, every day, search for calm and healing in their busy lives. Imagine for a moment, what if the answers you're seeking could be found in stories that are thousands of years old, told by someone whose wisdom has helped millions across time? Let's take a simple example. Think of a day when everything felt overwhelming and a kind friend listened to you without judgment. Just that small act made you feel lighter, right? Sometimes wisdom comes in such gentle ways, and it can change everything. Buddha's stories are like that. They reach into your heart and show you a new way to see your troubles. Before we begin this journey, welcome to Wisdom Woven. You are in the right place if you are searching for meaning, comfort, or just a little more light in everyday life. Here we collect the ancient stories and lessons of the Buddha, carefully chosen to help heal you from within. This channel is made just for you to bring a little bit of peace and inspiration into your world. Did you know there are so many views on this channel but only 0.2% subscribe? So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep bringing these life-changing stories to more people just like you. Buddhism began over 2,500 years ago with a simple but powerful idea. Suffering is part of life, but there is a way to end it. This idea started with a man named Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha, or the Awakened One. He lived as a prince, left his palace, and searched for deeper answers after seeing the pain in the world. His teachings became the heart of Buddhism, a path anyone can follow to find less pain and more understanding. In this series, you will hear stories about real-life moments of kindness, wisdom, patience, and change. They are simple stories, but each one carries a message that can gently guide you back to yourself. No matter what you have faced, there is always a chance to find peace within. Stay with us as we begin this journey. Each part will offer new insights and gentle advice that you can use in your own life. Are you ready to see how these ancient stories can heal your heart? Let's begin together. Siddhartha's first steps. The prince who questioned. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to have everything, but still feel something is missing inside? This is where our story begins. Not with a poor man or a sad child, but with a prince who had everything he could ever want. A long time ago, in a place called Lumbini, there was a prince named Siddhartha. His father was a great king. In the royal palace, there were beautiful gardens, sweet fruits to eat, soft beds, and fine clothes. Siddhartha could walk through golden halls and see flowers blooming everywhere. The king, his father, loved him very much and wanted his son to always be happy. The king did not want his son to feel pain or sadness, so he protected him from anything that might make him upset. Every day, Siddhartha was surrounded by music, laughter, and delicious food. Servants took care of him, and teachers taught him many things. The prince never saw anyone sad, sick, or old. Only joy and youth were allowed near him. But even with all of this, Siddhartha noticed something wasn't quite right inside. Sometimes he felt a strange emptiness. He would look out of his window and wonder about life outside the palace walls. Why did these beautiful things not fill his heart with lasting happiness? Why did he still feel empty sometimes, even in moments that should have brought him the most joy? One day, Siddhartha asked his father if he could leave the palace just to see the world. The king was worried but agreed. thinking he could make the trip safe and happy. So Siddhartha set out in a chariot with his loyal servant and friend Channa beside him. The king tried very hard to hide anything sad or troubling along the road. But sometimes even a great king cannot control everything. As Siddhartha and Channa traveled, Siddhartha noticed an old man walking slowly, bent over and shaking. For the first time in his life, the prince saw wrinkles and white hair. Siddhartha was shocked. "Channa," he asked, "what is wrong with that man? Why does he move so slowly? Why does his face look like that?" Channa explained, "Prince, this is old age. Everyone must grow old someday, no matter how much they wish to stay young." Siddhartha felt a heavy feeling in his heart. He thought, "Does everyone I love have to grow old someday? Will I become like that too?" On another day, Siddhartha saw someone very sick, lying on the ground, moaning in pain. He had never seen sickness before. "Why is this person suffering?" Siddhartha asked. "This is illness, my prince," Channa answered softly. "Anyone, rich or poor, can fall ill. No one can escape it." Again, Siddhartha's heart filled with worry and sadness. Even in his safe palace, he learned that sickness can come to anyone. A few days later, Siddhartha saw something even more surprising. A group of people carrying a body wrapped in cloth. The people were crying. Some patted each other's backs. Siddhartha had never seen anyone so still or quiet. "Why aren't they moving?" he asked Channa. "Prince, this is death. Everyone one day must die," Channa explained gently. Siddhartha's heart was heavy with pain. So there is no escape from old age, sickness, and death, he wondered. Life must be more than just happiness and soft pillows. Why do people suffer like this? But then Siddhartha saw something different. A calm and gentle man sitting under a tree, lost in thought. He looked peaceful, even though he had nothing. "Who is that?" Siddhartha asked. Channa replied, "He is a wandering seeker. He has left everything behind to find answers to life's big questions." Siddhartha saw that the man's peace was different from the joy he felt in the palace. It was deep, quiet, and powerful, as if he understood something very important. These four sights, old age, sickness, death, and the peaceful seeker, changed Siddhartha forever. No gift, no toy, no amount of tasty food could make him forget what he had seen. He started to question everything he'd learned before. If everyone suffers, how can there be true happiness? He wondered. Is there a way to end suffering for all beings? What is the meaning of life? Each night, Siddhartha lay awake, thinking about these questions. The soft bed and sweet music in the palace did not help him sleep. He looked at his beautiful wife and tiny baby, and though he loved them deeply, he worried about their future. One day, will they grow old and suffer too? His compassion was growing. Instead of thinking only about his own happiness, Siddhartha started to care for everyone's pain. Siddhartha's heart was changing. He understood now that even the richest palace cannot protect you from life's great truths. No walls are high enough to keep out old age, sickness, or death. And so, he decided, I want to find a path beyond suffering, not just for myself, but for everyone. There must be a way to help all people everywhere. He began to quietly prepare himself, promising in his heart to find answers. Siddhartha looked at the moon and stars, feeling both small and hopeful. If I can find a solution, maybe one day nobody will feel alone, afraid or lost again, he thought. Even though he was still living in the palace, his mind had already started the journey that would one day help millions find peace. Have you ever asked yourself, is there more to life than just what I own or what I know? Siddhartha's story began with that simple feeling of emptiness, even when surrounded by everything. Sometimes the path to true peace starts with just a single question. Siddhartha did not have all the answers yet, but he was brave enough to start looking. The story of Siddhartha's first steps teaches us a powerful lesson. It's okay to have questions, to feel unsatisfied with easy answers, and to seek for something deeper. True wisdom starts when we dare to look past comfort, notice the world around us, and ask why. Each time we wonder about suffering or the meaning of happiness, we are walking step by step along the path the Buddha once walked. As we move forward in this journey, remember what Siddhartha learned. It is courage, curiosity, and compassion that open the heart. No matter where you begin, you can always take your very first step toward a life of meaning. Siddhartha's story is not just about a prince from long ago. It is about anyone who has ever wanted to live with more kindness, understanding, and hope. Let's continue together and see where these first questions will lead us. Once upon a time, after many days and nights of searching, Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who had turned away from his palace and riches, was still wandering through forests and villages, quietly looking for answers. He had seen old age, sickness, and death, and he was troubled by suffering everywhere he went. Each day he tried different paths, followed many teachers, and even lived for a time with almost nothing to eat or drink, hoping that denying himself every comfort would reveal the truth. But after such hard trials, he realized that hurting his body did not lead to peace inside. "There must be another way," Siddhartha whispered to himself. One day, Siddhartha grew very tired and sat down beneath a large leafy tree on the edge of a quiet river. This tree was called a Bodhi tree. Its leaves danced gently in the wind, and the sunlight filtered down in small golden patches. Siddhartha crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and made a promise to himself. "I will not stand again until I have found the answer. Even if my body grows weak, my mind will not give up." Time seemed to move differently under that tree. The world grew quiet. All around him, the village people went about their daily lives, but Siddhartha became still and calm. Day turned into night, and still he did not move. He watched the breath going in and out of his body. He noticed thoughts rising and falling like gentle waves in a lake. Sometimes worries and fears came to visit, but he let them pass by, as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. As Siddhartha sat in deep meditation, a new kind of battle began, this one inside his own mind. Stories tell us that Mara, the spirit of confusion and temptation, tried to scare Siddhartha away from his search. Mara sent frightening shapes, storms, and doubts, whispering, "You will never find the answer. Turn back, Siddhartha." But Siddhartha did not move. He felt fear, but he did not let it rule his heart. Instead, he saw these thoughts for what they were. Just thoughts, just feelings, not the deeper truth he was seeking. When Mara tried to trick him with shining treasures, Siddhartha remembered the palace and all the joys he had once known. But now he smiled gently, for he saw that even the sweetest joy is not lasting if it only comes from outside. True peace, he thought, must come from inside, where no storm or sorrow can reach. Still, Mara did not give up easily. He sent feelings of pride, loneliness, and even doubt in Siddhartha's own quest. "Who are you to believe you can find a way beyond suffering?" But Siddhartha touched the earth with his right hand and called upon it to witness his search. Legend says the earth itself shivered softly as if to say, "You are worthy, Siddhartha. Stay strong." Through all the temptations and doubts, Siddhartha kept his mind steady and clear, like water in a calm pond. As the morning sky started to lighten, something changed in Siddhartha. His mind became quiet in a new way, deep and peaceful. He saw all his past lives as if they were beads on a string, one after another. He saw how all beings are born, grow, change, grow old, and die. He understood how desire, anger, and ignorance tie people to suffering. He saw a path, clear as the sunlight filtering through the leaves, that could lead anyone away from pain. In that silent moment beneath the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha's questions finally found their answers. He realized that suffering comes not from the world itself, but from how we see the world and cling to wanting, fear, and confusion. He discovered that by following a simple path of living wisely, kindly, and mindfully, anyone could be free from suffering. This moment, this shining spark of understanding, was called enlightenment. Siddhartha was no longer just a seeker, he became the Buddha, the awakened one. But what does enlightenment mean? It wasn't some magic power or a secret only for wise people. It was a deep and gentle understanding, a way of being kind and awake in every moment. The Buddha felt great love for all people, animals, and even the smallest bug. He saw everyone as part of a huge and wondrous family, all moving through the river of life. After his enlightenment, the Buddha opened his eyes slowly. The world he saw was the same as before. Birds sang in the tree, grass grew at his feet, but in his heart, everything was brighter and clearer, as if he had wiped fog from a window after rain. He felt no anger, no sadness, and no worry, not because the world had changed, but because inside he was free. The Buddha spent the next days and weeks just sitting near the Bodhi tree, watching, breathing, and smiling. He did not rush to teach or to travel. He simply let himself rest in this new way of being, letting in the light of wisdom grow gentle and strong within. Nature was his companion, the cool shade of the tree, the soft earth, and the night sky filled with stars. The Buddha understood that true wisdom is not something you can snatch or grab. It grows quietly, like a seed in the soil, turning slowly toward the sun. The Buddha's heart was like a lamp, glowing with compassion, wisdom, and peace. This peace was so deep, it could not be shaken by praise or blame, comfort or discomfort, life or death. Finally, when he was ready, the Buddha rose from his seat beneath the Bodhi tree. He remembered all the people suffering in the world, the old, the sick, the lost, the worried. He thought, how could I keep this discovery just for myself? I must share this path so others can find the freedom I have found. The Buddha decided to walk from village to village, teaching anyone who wished to learn. But Buddha's first steps as a teacher were quiet and gentle. He did not claim to be special. He said, I am awake. You too can wake up. The Buddha explained his journey simply. There is suffering in life. There is a reason for suffering. There is an end to suffering, and there is a path that leads to the end. This teaching became the Four Noble Truths, the heart of Buddhism. He shared what he had learned under the Bodhi tree. The path is not about denying the world or never feeling pain. It is about seeing things clearly, letting go of endless craving, and taking kind, wise steps one after another. The middle way, the Buddha said, is not too hard and not too soft, but gentle and steady, like the river that moves around rocks but never stops flowing. People from many villages began to hear about the gentle teacher who walked barefoot, whose words made their hearts feel lighter. Some were rich, some poor, some were wise, some uneducated. But the Buddha listened to all, spoke simply, and told stories that anyone, child or elder, queen or servant, could understand. He did not demand anyone believe him. He only invited them to try these steps for themselves and to see if peace grew in their own hearts. Over time, more and more people followed the Buddha. His community included men and women, old and young, monks, nuns, and everyday people. His wisdom did not belong to just one person or one group. It was for everyone who wanted to find a way beyond sorrow and fear. And so, the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who became the Buddha beneath the shade of the Bodhi tree, is not just a story from long ago. It is the story of anyone who dares to sit with big questions, who faces fear and doubt with courage, and who keeps looking not for quick fixes, but for deep, gentle understanding. The Bodhi tree still stands in Bodh Gaya, India, a living symbol of hope and awakening. People come from all over the world to sit beneath its branches and remember the lesson. Inside each person, there is a quiet place that can awaken. We do not have to run away from pain or force ourselves to be happy. When we sit still and truly look, we may discover the same peace the Buddha found, soft, steady, and shining from within. Beneath the Bodhi tree, the world was both ordinary and miraculous, just as your world can be. Sometimes the journey toward peace is just sitting quietly with your own heart, watching your thoughts come and go, and waiting for that small golden moment of understanding. That is the gift the Buddha brought to all of us. And that is the hope that anyone, even today, even right now, can find their own moment of awakening beneath their own Bodhi tree. So as we move forward together, carrying the story of the Buddha's enlightenment in our hearts, let us remember, the way to healing is often quiet, slow, and open to all. The secret is to look closely at life, be gentle with ourselves, and trust that inside, we all have the possibility to awaken, to understand, and to love. The path is always here, waiting for your own first step. Seeds of compassion, lessons from Buddha's kindness. Picture yourself sitting by a peaceful riverbank, listening to the gentle sound of water moving over smooth stones, as the Zen Master shares stories from long ago. Imagine these stories as soft seeds, ready to bloom kindness in your heart. After the Buddha found awakening beneath the Bodhi tree, his life changed in a deep, quiet way. But enlightenment was not the end. It was the beginning of a new path. The Buddha wanted to use his understanding not just for himself, but to help all beings find peace. His heart overflowed with compassion, a gentle wish that others may be free from suffering too. Let's explore how, in the simplest and smallest actions, the Buddha used kindness to touch lives and change the world, one gentle act at a time. One morning, as the sun rose over the forests, the Buddha walked quietly through a village. The paths were dusty, but his steps were slow and mindful. In the village, a young boy sat alone, crying softly. His friends had teased him for being clumsy. The Buddha knelt beside the boy and asked, "Why are you sad?" Between tears, the boy explained. The Buddha listened without judging, offering only a peaceful smile. He told the boy, "Sometimes people are unkind because they do not see the pain in others or in themselves. But you can make a different choice. When you feel hurt, try to send kindness instead of anger. Even one gentle word can change a heart." The boy's tears dried. The hurt remained, but the Buddha's simple listening was like warm sunlight to a cold flower. This is how the Buddha taught. Not with big speeches or fancy words, but through everyday kindness. He was gentle with children, patient with the old, and never turned away from anyone, even those who were mean or loud. The Buddha saw the world as a vast garden. Some plants were blooming, some were struggling in the shade, but all needed care to grow. One famous story tells of Angulimala, a fierce bandit feared by everyone. He had done terrible things. The king wanted him arrested, and people ran away at the sound of his name. But the Buddha, hearing of Angulimala's pain, decided to visit him. As Angulimala saw the Buddha in the forest, he rushed toward him, ready with anger. But the Buddha walked slowly, calmly, without fear. "Stop, monk!" Angulimala shouted. The Buddha looked quietly into his eyes and said, "I have already stopped. It is you who must stop." The words confused Angulimala. The Buddha explained he had stopped hurting others and instead chose the path of peace. Angulimala's anger began to melt as he listened. He fell to his knees, weeping. "Can I really change?" he asked. The Buddha's answer was simple. Anyone who chooses kindness can begin again, no matter their past. From that day, Angulimala left his old life, became a follower of the Buddha, and grew gentle and kind. This is the power of compassion, like water softening even the hardest stone. In another tale, the Buddha was walking with his followers when a rude farmer shouted at him with harsh words. His students fumed with anger, wanting to defend the Buddha. But the Buddha, calm as the still morning lake, turned to them and said, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" They replied, "To the one who gives." The Buddha smiled. "So too anger. If I do not accept it, it stays with the person who offers it." The farmer blinked in surprise, soon realizing his own anger wasn't needed. The gentle patience of the Buddha changed the air, turning anger to understanding. What do all these stories remind us? Compassion is like planting seeds. Some seeds sprout quickly, like a smile that brightens someone's day. Some take longer to bloom, like gentle words that heal old hurts. The Buddha's kindness was quiet, but its effects grew far and wide, reaching even the smallest corners of life. People in villages and towns, seeing the way Buddha treated others, wanted to learn more. Mothers brought their children, beggars came with empty bowls, and even kings listened with respect. But Buddha paid no more attention to the king's golden robes than to a child's tattered shirt. He looked at faces, not at labels. His compassion was like rain, falling on everyone, not just a chosen few. The Buddha's kindness wasn't just for people. He cared for animals too. One day he saw a wounded bird lying in the grass after being hurt by two boys fighting over it. The Buddha picked up the tiny creature, cupped it gently in his hands, and whispered soothing words. The boys came running, arguing over who should keep the bird. Buddha asked, "Who has the right to this bird? The one who would kill it or the one who would save it?" The boys looked down, ashamed. With gentle care, the Buddha taught them that true strength lies in compassion, in saving and protecting, not in hurting. Compassion to the Buddha was not something you keep in your mind only. It shows in how you speak, how you listen, how you treat even the smallest life. Once, a poor woman named Kisa Gotami approached him, weeping for her only child who had died. She begged, "Please bring back my son." Rather than saying yes or no, the Buddha asked her kindly, "Bring me a mustard seed from any house where no one has ever lost a loved one." Kisa Gotami went from door to door, but soon found that every family knew loss and grief. She returned, understanding that suffering and loss happened to all. The Buddha comforted her, not with clever answers, but with patience and love. In these simple ways, the Buddha taught that others' happiness is as important as your own. He showed his students how to truly listen, to hear not only the words but the feelings underneath. By caring deeply, he helped take away people's loneliness and shame. Even when others were angry, greedy, or confused, he saw not an enemy, but a person who needed warmth and understanding. Imagine now that you are sitting under a tree, just as the Buddha did, listening as he speaks to a small group. Like a mother who protects her child, even at the risk of her own life. So let your kindness grow to embrace all living things, yourself included. Not only did the Buddha speak of love, he lived it every day. Through his calm, patient, and gentle ways, his message about kindness spread slowly, like sunrise lighting up the land. Stories of his compassion reached distant lands, carried by people whose lives were changed by a single kind word or a silent smile. Every act of kindness, the Buddha explained, is like a lamp that drives away darkness, not just for one person, but for all who come near. But the Buddha also taught that compassion is not always easy. Sometimes it feels hard to be gentle, especially when we ourselves are hurt or tired. Sometimes we want to protect our own heart and forget about others. The Buddha encouraged his followers, when you feel angry or sad, pause for a moment. Breathe, think gently of yourself and then of others. Even a little compassion makes a difference. Seeds do not become trees in a day. Kindness, too, grows with practice, a little at a time. The Buddha showed by example. When a sick monk lay alone, he did not call for servants. He knelt and washed the monk himself. If we care for each other, we grow strong together, he said. His students began to help each other more, showing respect, sharing meals, and tending to those in need. The community became a place of trust, woven together by many small, kind acts. Kindness is simple, the Buddha taught. Sometimes it is just offering a cup of water, helping someone cross a busy road, or listening with full attention. Each time you choose compassion, you help the world heal, even if no one else sees it. Every soft word, every quiet smile is a way to plant seeds that will grow long after you are gone. The Buddha's lessons remind us, when life feels harsh or when people seem cold, you can answer with warmth. Compassion does not always fix every problem, but it brings peace to your own heart and often softens the hearts of others too. It takes courage to care, especially when it is not easy, but that is how healing begins. In places where people are angry, kindness becomes a shelter. In times when hope feels far away, compassion lights the path back home. So as the Master's voice finally grows quiet and the river keeps flowing, remember the stories of Buddha's kindness. The world can be confusing, noisy, and sometimes cruel. But even in its hardest moments, you can choose to plant a seed of compassion. It might be small and quiet, but with gentle care, it can blossom, first inside you, then in someone else. And finally, like the Buddha's own kindness, it can shine softly across the world. Let these seeds of compassion take root in your heart. Carry them with you as you face your days and see how, little by little, the gentle power of kindness changes you and those around you. This is the way of the Buddha. Not in grand gestures, but in simple, true acts of compassion. One quiet moment, one gentle word, one helping hand at a time. When we hold something tightly in our hand, After a while, our hand grows tense and tired. If we finally open our grip and let it fall, what do we feel? A little relief, maybe even a sense of freedom. In life, our hearts and minds can also become tired because we cling to things, people, things, ideas, or wishes, fearing that letting go will make us lose something important. But sometimes the very act of letting go is what sets us free. This is a gift the Buddha shared with everyone he met. Long ago, in the shade of a banyan tree, the Buddha noticed some of his students quarreling. One wanted more food, another wanted special treatment. One clung to memories of the village he'd left behind. Tension filled the air. The Buddha sat quietly among them, holding a simple clay bowl. He gently turned the bowl upside down and let a few grains of rice slip out. Notice how, when the bowl is turned, the rice falls away easily, he said softly. In the same way, our worries and pains can leave us if we learn how to gently release them. His students grew quiet, realizing how tightly they were holding on to their own desires and fears. The Buddha told many stories about letting go. One famous tale is about a monkey who finds a jar filled with nuts. The hole in the jar is small, just big enough for his hand when empty. But when the monkey grabs a fistful of nuts, his hand becomes too large to pull out. He pulls and yanks, but cannot free himself unless he lets go of the nuts. The monkey struggle shows us how, when we refuse to let go, we become stuck. Not because of the world outside, but because of how tightly our own minds hold on. In another gentle story, a young woman named Patakara lost her family and wandered, lost in grief. She could not stop thinking about her loved ones, clinging to her memories and pain. When she met the Buddha, he listened kindly. He did not tell her to simply forget her sadness. Instead, he told her, "Water carries everything, old leaves, tiny bugs, fresh rain. But when the water flows, many things are left behind. Little by little, pain also passes. You don't need to push the river, you only need to let it flow." Patakara wept, and her heart felt lighter. Over time, as she learned to let go of her sadness, she found new purpose in helping others. The Buddha taught his followers that all things in life change. Flowers bloom and then fade, the sun rises and then sets. Loved ones come into our lives. Sometimes they leave. Each moment is precious because it will not last forever. Instead of clinging in fear, the Buddha invited people to see the beauty in change. He said, "Imagine holding a beautiful lotus flower, then placing it in a gentle stream. If you try to clutch it, it will crush. If you let it float, you can enjoy it as it drifts." To find peace, we must accept that nothing, good or bad, stays the same. The Buddha himself had to learn to let go. He let go of his throne and palace, trusting that the unknown path ahead was more valuable than any golden crown. He let go of old beliefs and comforts, allowing his heart and mind to open like a door to fresh air. He taught that letting go does not mean we stop caring. Real love, real peace, is being able to open our hands and minds, allowing life to flow as it will, and being kind to ourselves and others, whatever the moment brings. One day, a rich man came to the Buddha, troubled because he feared losing his wealth. He was always anxious, counting his coins and worrying what would happen if they disappeared. The Buddha handed him a cup and filled it so full of water that it trembled at the edge. "See how the cup cannot hold another drop?" the Buddha asked. "Your worries fill your mind as this cup, leaving no room for peace. Try letting go, just a little, and watch what happens." The man took a breath, closed his eyes, and imagined setting the cup down. With time, his grip on his worries relaxed. He realized he could enjoy what he had without living in fear of losing it. Letting go is not just for sadness or money. The Buddha also spoke of letting go of anger. Consider a heavy stone. If you keep carrying it, your arm grows tired, even painful. Anger is like that stone. Sometimes we feel we have every right to hold it. But if we finally set it down, we give ourselves and others the gift of lightness. One day when a student asked how to deal with old grudges, the Buddha smiled and said, "When you let go of anger, you do not lose honor, you gain freedom." But letting go is not always easy, even for wise people. The Buddha admitted that our hearts sometimes want to hold on tightly because of fear, because of habit, or simply because we forget that everything changes. He encouraged everyone to practice little by little. Maybe it's letting go of a harsh word, a disappointment, or the need to be right all the time. Each time you practice, you grow a bit lighter inside. Some of the Buddhist students worried that letting go meant giving up all their dreams and joys. The Buddha reassured them, letting go is not about emptiness. It is about making room in your heart for moments of real joy, for new friendships, and for peace that is not crushed by fear. Letting go is not loss, he said. It is opening the door for new blessings to come in. In quiet moments, Buddha reminded his followers to pay attention to their breath. Breathing in, you receive the present. Breathing out, you let it go. This simple act, repeated over and over, teaches the body and mind how to gently release the tight grip of worry or longing. The breath is always there, ready to help us practice letting go, one gentle, easy breath after another. Sometimes even letting go of small things, a favorite toy, a broken dish, a lost chance, prepares us for bigger changes to come. The Buddha taught that every loss is also a teacher, gently reminding us that everything comes and goes. Instead of clinging tightly, we can learn to appreciate the beauty of each moment as it passes. He shared a story about two monks who crossed a river. On the far side, a woman asked for help to cross because the water was swift. One monk hesitated, knowing the tradition said not to touch women, but the other gently picked her up and carried her safely over. Later, the careful monk said, "You broke the rule by carrying her." The other monk replied, "I let her down at the river's edge. Why are you still carrying her?" The teaching: let go of the things you no longer need. Old hurts, worries, judgments have no place if you wish to walk lightly in life. Children and elders, rich and poor, learned from the Buddha that life feels lighter and sweeter when we practice letting go. Some days it might be as simple as letting go of a lost seat on the bus or forgiving yourself for making a mistake. Other days it might mean letting go of a future you hoped for, a person you loved, or a pain that seems too big to bear. The Buddha's compassion in these moments was like a gentle hand on your shoulder. You are learning, he would say. You are growing. Now imagine you are sitting with the Buddha under a large tree. He smiles quietly and says, "Like autumn leaves falling, let worry drop from your heart. You cannot hold every leaf that falls, or every joy, every sadness, every hope. Let some things drift away and watch how your heart grows lighter and freer with each passing season." Letting go is not something we do once. It is something we can practice every day, just as we practice kindness or patience. Each time you notice yourself holding on tightly, maybe to an idea, an expectation, or a regret, remind yourself of the simple bowl, the cup too full, the monkey's jar, or the autumn leaves. Remind yourself, if I opened my hands, I might find peace waiting for me. The Buddha's stories help us see that letting go, though it may feel scary, is a gentle and beautiful step toward healing. Through small daily choices, we let more peace, more love, and more joy enter our lives. We learn to trust that even when things change or go away, something as deep and lovely as the river's song will remain, a current of freedom and hope, always moving us onward. This is the way of the Buddha, and it is a way you can walk too. One breath, one gentle release, one open heart at a time. If ever you find your mind full and your heart heavy, remember these stories and let yourself practice the quiet, healing power of letting go. Walking the middle path. Wisdom through balance. Imagine yourself in a quiet garden with the soft sunlight warming your face and a gentle breeze brushing the tips of the grass. You hear bird song and feel the world slowing down, inviting you to listen. In this peaceful place, let the Zen Masters speak about a road that is not too hard and not too soft, a road called the middle path. After the Buddha let go of everything, his home, his riches, his fears, he searched in many ways for peace. First, he lived in comfort, with good food and pleasant company, like a gentle river that never has to work very hard. But the deeper he looked, the more he saw that comfort alone did not bring true happiness. So he tried the other extreme. He ate almost nothing, slept on hard ground, and practiced all kinds of punishments, believing suffering would show him the way. He became so thin and tired, his bones pressed against his skin, and even a soft breeze could hurt him. Still, true peace escaped him. One day as he sat by the river, so weak he felt he might faint, he overheard a musician teaching his student to play the sitar. The teacher said, "If you tighten the string too much, it will snap. If you leave it too loose, it will not play. Only when the string is not too tight, not too loose, does it make beautiful music." The Buddha's heart leaped at this gentle lesson. He thought, this is the way for life too. Not too little, not too much. Real wisdom lies in balance. The Buddha realized he could not care for his mind if his body was starving. So he accepted a bowl of sweet rice milk from a kind girl named Sujata. With that first careful meal, he felt new energy. Sitting under the Bodhi tree, he let the lesson of the sitar fill his whole being. This is the middle path, he decided, the way between overpleasure and self-punishment. Walking the middle path means not clinging tightly to any extreme. It is not about having everything or nothing, but about being present, gentle with yourself and others, steady like a river flowing between its banks. The Buddha shared this middle path with his students, teaching them that pain can come from wanting too much, and also from denying ourselves everything. Peace comes when we choose a balanced way. Let us imagine the stories the Buddha told his followers as they sat under shady trees or walked along country paths. Once, some monks asked how to meditate. Some sat so long they gave themselves aches and pains. Others lay in the shade and drifted into sleep. The Buddha smiled and invited them to walk with him. See how the ground is soft enough for your feet, but not so soft they sink in and slow you down? This is like the path to peace. Walk gently, not too fast, not too slow. He told the story of a thirsty traveler who comes to a river. If he tries to swim straight across, he may tire and drown. If he sits and waits, he will never cross. But if he finds a quiet spot to wade and spreads his weight just right, he will reach the other side safely. This traveler's lesson is the same. Do not rush, do not give up. Find the middle way. The Buddha also explained that balance is important in thoughts and words. If we're always angry, blaming others, we fill our hearts with storms. But if we ignore our feelings, pretending nothing bothers us, we become like dry earth, unable to grow anything new. Balance means being honest but kind. It means noticing our worries, then letting them pass without clinging. There's a story of a monk named Sona who tried so hard in meditation that he made himself ill. When he told the Buddha about his troubles, the Buddha gently asked, "Were you not once a musician? How did you tune your strings?" Sona replied, "Not too tight, not too loose." The Buddha nodded, "So too with your mind. Practice but do not strain. Rest but do not waste time. Keep the balance." The middle path is also a way to treat others, not with too much praise or too much blame, not with harsh rules or wild freedoms. The Buddha watched parents raising their children. Those who never corrected a mistake left their children confused. Those who punished harshly left them afraid. But the parents who guided softly, with patience and calm, helped their children grow into wise and gentle people. Walking the middle path also means finding balance in how we think about ourselves. If we are too proud, we ignore our faults and forget to learn. If we are too hard, we lose hope and feel unworthy. The Buddha taught his followers to see themselves honestly, with warmth and care, like a friend who tells the truth, but always with a gentle voice. One day when a group of villagers asked how to live a good life, the Buddha pointed to the fields. "See how the plants need both sunlight and rain? Too much sun, they wilt. Too much rain, they drown. But with balance, they grow green and strong." This is true for all parts of life, not just in work or meditation, but in friendship, family, and even play. Sometimes people thought the middle path was boring, as if it meant never feeling joy or never being sad. The Buddha explained, balance does not mean nothing happens. It means we do not swing from high to low like a wild pendulum. Instead, we move through life gently, steady like a boat on calm water. In this way, we can enjoy every moment, happy or sad, without being pulled apart inside. The Buddha also showed balance when he dealt with disagreement. Sometimes his followers argued about rules. The Buddha listened quietly, then reminded them, "Rules are like boats. They help you cross the river, but do not carry the boat forever. After crossing, set it down and walk forward." In balance, we make space for both guidance and freedom. Balance, the Buddha taught, is also important for health. He reminded tired monks not to meditate all night, but to sleep, eat, and play also. A well-rested mind sees more clearly, like a mirror wiped clean. He encouraged everyone to enjoy beauty, a flower blooming, a good meal, without greed, and to face hardship without fear. The middle path is not always easy to find. Sometimes it feels like a narrow strip between strong winds. But if you walk too close to one side, pain grows. If you wander to the other, you may lose your way. The secret is to pay attention, to notice and gently guide yourself back to balance, just as a gardener straightens a young plant with soft hands. Over time, the Buddha's followers noticed something surprising. As they practiced the middle path, eating just enough, working with care but resting too, listening to others kindly, they felt calmer, happier, less tired. They did not get sick so often or lose their tempers as quickly. Their days felt smooth, their nights more peaceful. Later, the Buddha gathered everyone together and shared a set of gentle steps called the Noble Eightfold Path. Each step, a right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration was made to keep a person balanced, not tipping too far this way or that. By following these steps, anyone could find the middle path, no matter where they started. Let us pause now and remember what the middle path truly means. It isn't about just enough or living less fully. It is a way to walk gently through every season of life, with courage and kindness, with hope and care, without falling into traps of too much or too little. It means listening for harmony, not noise. When you have a big choice, ask yourself, am I clinging too tightly or letting everything fall? Am I rushing ahead or sitting too still? Am I speaking too harshly or not speaking up at all? In each moment, the middle path invites you to become soft and wise, to feel your way, like walking on cool grass barefoot, noticing each step. As you listen to this story, imagine your own life as a path with stones and flowers, sun and rain. The Buddha's way does not ask you to walk alone or to never make mistakes. It only asks you to come back to balance when you lose your way, as gently as a river returns to its course around a bend. Walking the middle path is an act of kindness to yourself and to everyone you meet. It is being gentle when you fall and helping others to find their footing too. It is listening to your own heart and to the hearts of others with patience and understanding. In the quiet of the garden, with a cool breeze and the sound of life all around, take a deep breath. Remember the lesson of the sitar string, the story of the river, the soft guidance of the Buddha. Not too much, not too little. Let balance light your way. This is wisdom through the middle path, the art of mindfulness, stories that inspire presence. Come, find a comfortable place to sit. Close your eyes if you wish, and imagine the Zen Masters speaking to you as softly as a breeze across calm water. This is a story not just to hear, but to feel. One breath, one heartbeat, one quiet moment at a time. Mindfulness is a word that means deep and gentle attention. The Buddha taught that true healing begins with being fully present, not worrying about tomorrow, not clinging to yesterday, but being here, right now, just as things are. This is the art of mindfulness, the practice of noticing deeply. Start by picturing the Buddha in the bright morning, walking through a quiet forest. Birds sing, leaves rustle, and the sun touches everything with a golden brush. The Buddha's steps are gentle and slow. Each step is taken with care, attention, and peace. When he walks, he is not in a hurry to reach his destination. Every movement, every breath is a way to be close to this moment, to see, hear, feel, and smile at life as it is. One morning, a student followed the Buddha, hoping to learn the deepest truths. But the Buddha only smiled and said, "Before you can feel peace, you must know how to breathe." He taught the student to stand still for a moment and just notice the breath, the tickle at his nose as air came in, the gentle warmth as it left. As the student watched, his busy thoughts slowed down. Worries about the past faded. Fear of the future quieted. The only thing real was this: breathing in, breathing out, alive right now. The Buddha explained, "When you are fully present, each breath is a miracle. You are not missing your own life." He taught his followers to walk, eat, and even wash dishes mindfully. That means paying full attention without judging or rushing. When walking, just walk. When eating, notice the taste, the color, the shape of your food. Even the act of sweeping a floor can be a kind of meditation. One bright day, a group of children crowded around the Buddha, their faces full of questions and laughter. He asked them to sit in a circle and gave each one a single raisin. "Hold it in your hand," he said. "See its wrinkles. Notice its color. Smell it. Feel its weight." The children giggled but did as he asked. Then together they put the raisin in their mouths, slowly, noticing the taste, the sweetness, how it changed as they chewed. This was not just eating, it was discovering a whole world in a single bite. The lesson was simple. Even the smallest things can be wonderful when we notice them fully. The Buddha often used small daily acts to teach mindfulness. He would point to the bell in the morning and ask, "Did you hear its true sound or just its noise?" When drinking water after a long walk, he urged everyone to feel the coolness, to bless the water silently for giving life. From the outside, these moments looked ordinary, but inside, hearts grew calm and full. There was once a monk named Ananda who struggled with worry. When asked how to find peace, the Buddha told him, "Return to your breath. Each breath is like an anchor that holds you steady, even when the mind is stormy." Whenever Ananda noticed his thoughts racing, he practiced coming back, breathing in, breathing out, feeling the ground under his feet, letting anxious thoughts drift by like clouds. Soon he found that the more he practiced, the easier it became to notice his feelings without being swept away by them. The Buddha shared stories of fish in a clear pond. When the water is still, you see every pebble, every darting fish. When the water is stirred, it becomes muddy and unclear. Your mind is the same. Stillness lets you see deeply. To become quiet inside, use mindfulness. Look, listen, breathe, and welcome everything just as it is. One afternoon, as the sun was setting, a troubled farmer came to the Buddha. His crops had failed and he felt heavy with grief and worry. He poured out his troubles, his mind spinning with what-ifs and if-onlys. The Buddha listened patiently and then, with a kind smile, spoke gently. "Life always gives us some troubles, like little stones on a path. Suffering grows when we pick up each stone, carry it, and think about it all the time. Try instead just to see the stone, step around it, and keep walking." The farmer, puzzled at first, realized that noticing his pain, but not attaching to it, gave him more space in his heart. The Buddha compared mindfulness to tending a fire. If you feed it too much wood, the flames flare and smoke. Too little, and it goes out. If you watch carefully, adding just enough, the fire stays lovely and warm. Mindfulness is like that, paying gentle attention, not forcing, not starving, but watching, caring, accepting. Once a woman named Malika, tired from her day's work, complained that meditation was hard and her mind was noisy. The Buddha nodded. The mind is like a playful monkey, always jumping from one branch to another. If you shout at it, it jumps faster. If you offer it fruit, it may sit still for a moment. Practice patience. Each time your mind wanders, smile and invite it gently back to now. Little by little, your mind grows quieter and friendlier. The Buddha said that to live mindfully is to really live, not just to pass quickly from one moment to the next, lost in worries or daydreams. When the rain came, he felt the cool drops on his skin. When laughter rose, he let it dance in his chest. When sadness visited, he welcomed it too, as a teacher. Mindfulness does not block out pain or force happiness. Instead, it invites all feelings, both good and tough, and treats them with compassion, like welcoming old friends. During a journey, the Buddha's group reached a raging river. Some followers grew afraid of the noise and rush of the water. The Buddha sat by the bank and closed his eyes. "Bring all your attention to your breath," he said. "Feel your feet on the earth. Listen to your heart." Even as the river roared, a bubble of peace grew around them. One by one, his followers found the courage to cross. They learned that mindful presence could bring calm, even in wild confusion. Again and again, the Buddha repeated, "Do not chase after the past. Do not long for tomorrow. Live each moment fresh and new." He encouraged a farmer to notice the sun on his back, a baker to savor the warmth of kneaded dough, a mother to listen fully to her child. Each moment is a single treasure, he told them. Miss it and it is lost. Notice it and it is forever yours. Even at the end of each day, the Buddha asked his community to pause. Together they shared a few moments of silence, letting their busy thoughts settle. This silence was not empty, but full of peace, understanding, and gentle gratitude. Sleep came easier, and dreams were sweeter. Sometimes people became sad or angry, remembering old pains. The Buddha reminded them that mindfulness includes being kind to yourself. When sadness visits, greet it, hold it gently, ask, "What do you want to teach me?" When anger comes, see where it settles in your body, maybe tight shoulders or a frown. Use your breath to soften it and let it go. This is how pain begins to heal. The art of mindfulness was not just the Buddha's lesson, but an invitation. Anyone, rich or poor, old or young, in the middle of a city or alone in a field, could notice the moment, breathe, and become present. Mindfulness did not belong to a temple or a forest. It was for anyone willing to simply pay attention and accept what they find. The Buddha's followers learned to make small rituals of mindfulness. Before eating, they paused and thanked the earth, the sun, the cooks. Before speaking, they waited a heartbeat, asking if their words were kind and true. When ending a day, they remembered a moment, perhaps the smell of rain, the laughter of a friend, and carried it in their hearts like a lantern. In this way, the Buddha's community grew peaceful, strong, and loving. Problems still came and went, sickness, sorrow, small disagreements, but people learned to meet them with patient, gentle presence. Each person grew like a tree, quietly day by day, paying attention to sunshine and storm, rooted by mindfulness in the earth of now. So as the Zen Master pauses, let us reflect. Mindfulness is the gift of really being alive. It welcomes life fully, noticing joys and aches, beauty and plainness as simple wonders. With practice, mindfulness is always with you, in your breath, your steps, your meals, your words, and the gentle beat of your heart. Take a breath, feel the chair beneath you, hear these words as they are, now. You are already practicing mindfulness, and the Buddha's gentle teaching is yours as well. This is the art of presence, noticing, accepting, and gently loving this very moment again and again, all through your life. Imagine first the Buddha walking barefoot along a dusty road. The air is warm. Birds call. Suddenly, a man appears and shouts at the Buddha with a loud and angry voice. "You are foolish. Your teachings are wrong." His face is red. His words are sharp and hot, like fire from a dry forest. Many people watch in surprise. The Buddha does not answer right away. He stands tall and calm, listening to every word with his whole heart. When the man is done, the Buddha gently asks, "If a person offers you a gift and you choose not to take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man, still angry, replies, "To the one who offered it, of course." "So it is with your anger," the Buddha says. "I do not accept it. It stays with you." The man is silent, his fire cooled. The people see. The Buddha's peace is strong, not weak. He neither fights nor flees. He greets anger, not with more anger, but with calm and understanding. This is the first lesson. When anger finds you, you do not need to take it in. You can let it pass. The Buddha met anger everywhere, sometimes in others, sometimes even in his own students. One day, a young monk named Rahula confessed, "I feel hot anger inside when people call me foolish." The Buddha asked Rahula to bring a bowl of water outside. "Imagine this bowl is your heart. When anger comes," he said, "the water grows cloudy and wild. You cannot see your own face. But if you let the bowl rest and do not stir, the water will settle and become clear again." Rahula sat, breathing quietly, watching the water still until his own heart felt clear as well. Another day, two friends, Kalyan and Mita, quarreled during a meal. One had taken more than his share. Both grew upset. Their voices rose and their faces tightened with anger. The Buddha watched gently and then spoke. "Anger is like holding a burning coal tightly in your hand, hoping to throw it at another. But who gets burned first?" The friends looked at their hands, understanding for the first time that anger harms the one who keeps it the most. They apologized and shared the last of the food, soft smiles replacing hard frowns. The Buddha taught that anger is natural. It visits everyone, children and elders, rich and poor, teacher and student. It is not a sign of weakness, but he explained, what matters is not the anger itself, but what we do with it. When we notice anger rising, we can pause, breathe, and choose a different way. He often told the story of a snake and a stick. If you see a snake on your path, you can try to hit it with a stick. Maybe the snake will bite you in defense, but if you move slowly, giving the snake space, it will pass by and leave you unharmed. In the same way, when we fight anger with anger, pain grows larger. But if we give it space, noticing it without harming ourselves or others, it can pass peacefully. Sometimes people misunderstood the Buddha. Once a group from a rival school of thought tried to trap him with harsh questions. Their tones were rude, their words meant to trap and embarrass. The Buddha listened closely, waited for them to finish, and then answered only what was true and needed. He spoke slowly, with kindness, not letting himself be carried away by their tone or intent. Soon their anger faded, left empty in the air like a shout in the wind. One day a soldier approached the Buddha and asked, "I have done terrible things in battle. My heart burns with anger and shame. Can I ever find peace?" The Buddha placed his hand on the soldier's back and replied, "The fire of anger can grow wild and destroy a whole forest, but a single rain cloud can begin to heal it. You have water inside you, kindness, regret, the longing to change. Each time you choose understanding, it is one drop of rain, cooling your heart." The soldier wept, feeling hope soften his pain. The Buddha's students practiced many ways to heal from anger. Sometimes they meditated by imagining someone they loved, then someone they disliked, then someone who was a stranger. With each, they sent gentle wishes. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be peaceful. At first, their hearts resisted, especially for those who hurt them. But as they practiced again and again, their hearts grew softer and the grip of anger began to loosen. Children learned to deal with anger too. One young girl, teased by her older brother, wanted to shout and hit. The Buddha asked her gently, "What does hitting feel like in your body?" She thought about her tight fists, her fast heartbeat. "Hot and heavy," she said. He asked, "What if you let your hands relax and took 3 long breaths?" She did, and soon her anger faded, replaced by a warm calm. "See, the anger was a visitor," said the Buddha. "Now that it sees kindness, it is ready to leave." Anger sometimes comes, not as shouting, but as silence and hurt feelings. A story is told of two old friends, Gopu and Leela, who stopped speaking after a small argument. Both missed the other, but pride kept them apart. One spring evening, the Buddha visited and told them, "Two trees may shade each other, but if they bend away in anger, both lose the sun." Listening, Gopu and Leela shared their feelings, said sorry, and their friendship flourished again. The Buddha knew that sometimes anger stems from fear, hunger, loneliness, or feeling misunderstood. He taught his followers to look under the anger, like lifting a stone to see what small creatures live beneath. Often they found hurt, sadness, or a deep wish for things to be better. With gentle curiosity, they learned to care for these hidden feelings, not judge or push them away. The path to healing anger is a journey. The Buddha said, "Do not be hard on yourself if anger comes again and again. Each time it visits, treat it kindly, with respect, like a neighbor who forgot their way." He reminded everyone that even wise monks feel anger sometimes. The secret is to notice it early, breathe kindly, and choose words and actions that help, never harm. Villagers learned simple practices. When angry, they would walk slowly outside, feeling their feet on the earth and the wind on their skin. Some would write down their feelings on soft leaves, then let the river carry the leaves away. Others stood quietly under a tree, imagining the roots growing deep, holding them steady against any storm. As communities adopted the Buddha's teachings, people found that anger became lighter and less powerful. Arguments became smaller, forgivings were quicker. Children quarreled and made up faster. Neighbors helped neighbors, even those they did not like. The whole village became more peaceful, like a field after a gentle rain. The Buddha spoke of one more great kindness, forgiving ourselves. If we act in anger, he invited us to say, "I am sorry" to others, and gently to ourselves. "I am learning, and next time I will try another way." This was not weak, but strong, a way to let go of old pains and start fresh each day. So as the sun sets in our story, with quiet peace settling over the land, remember, anger is a part of life, but it does not have to rule you. When it visits, greet it kindly, notice it, and let it pass. In its place, plant seeds of patience, soft words, and understanding. Again and again, in simple ways, you can heal anger, inside yourself and in the hearts of those around you. This is the Buddha's gift, the gentle power to meet hatred with calm, to let the fires cool, and to watch peace grow like green grass after rain. And each time you choose peace, even for a moment, the world inside and around you grows lighter, and your journey becomes a little bit easier, kinder, and more free. Long ago, people brought all kinds of suffering to the Buddha. Some were sick or in pain. Some had lost family, or their farms, or their hope. Children came crying about fights with friends. Elders came with hearts tired from long years of work and loss. There were days when it seemed all anyone could talk about were aches and sadness. The Buddha listened to each person as if their story was the only one in the world. He never hurried or rushed. He would say, "Suffering is a part of life. Everyone feels pain, even the wise, even the strong. But suffering need not be a prison. It can be a door to understanding, kindness, and peace." One sunny morning, a woman named Kisa Gotami came to the Buddha, her eyes swollen from crying. She held her lifeless child and begged, "Please bring back my son." The Buddha did not turn away, nor did he promise what could not be. He said kindly, Bring me a mustard seed from any house where no one has ever lost a loved one. Kisa searched the whole village, knocking on each door, but every family shared their own sorrow. Lost mother, brother, father, daughter. Kisa realized that grief touches every house. She returned and sat beside the Buddha, who gently told her, "Your pain is great, but you are not alone." When we know this, our hearts can slowly heal. The Buddha taught a very simple way to start transforming suffering. Be present with it. If you run from pain, it only chases you. If you turn to look, to breathe, and to feel it kindly, the pain begins to soften. He taught people to sit quietly, noticing how sorrow felt in their body. Tight chest, sore throat, heavy eyes. It's just a feeling, not the whole of you, he would say. It will change, just like the clouds move and the wind shifts. He shared many stories. One day a farmer came, angry and worried because his crops had failed. "How can I be happy when I have lost everything?" the Buddha asked. "Before this trouble, were there other times you felt pain?" The farmer nodded. "Yes, but those passed. I did not think they would." The Buddha smiled. "So it is with all suffering. It comes, it stays, and it goes. Trust in change. What hurts now will not last forever." The Buddha called this the law of impermanence. Nothing, not even pain, lasts forever. Happy times and sad times both come and go. "See the morning dew on the grass?" he'd say. "Bright and fresh, but gone when the sun climbs higher. Suffering and joy are the same. They visit, then leave. Notice this, and your heart grows gentle and strong." The Buddha also explained that much suffering begins with wanting things to be different. Wanting more, wanting less, wanting something to last or to go away quickly. He invited his followers to practice accepting life as it is, even just for a little while. When you notice yourself wishing and longing, take one slow breath and say, "Right now, this is how I feel. It's okay." Slowly, the tightness may loosen and space for peace may arise. But he did not teach people simply to give up or be passive. The Buddha spoke about wise effort, doing what you can, but not fighting what you cannot control. If you are sick, seek medicine, but do not fight or blame your body. Care for it with patience. If someone hurts you, feel the pain, but do not add more suffering with hate or harsh thoughts. Instead, let your care grow to include yourself and even those who have hurt you. Once a young shepherd told the Buddha of a wolf that frightened the village sheep. No matter what the people did, the wolf returned. The Buddha told him, "You can chase the wolf, or you can build a safe fence." Sometimes suffering cannot be chased away, but you can build peace around it by caring for yourself and others. Practicing mindfulness helps, the Buddha taught. Each day, take time to notice small joys, a smile, the breeze, the color of a flower. Happiness and sorrow live together, like day and night. When you suffer, look for even one small light. This is how peace begins. The Buddha encouraged his followers to eat and walk slowly, to see, hear, and taste the present moment. By doing this, worry and pain often felt less heavy. The Buddha's community learned to support each other in suffering too. No one needed to carry their pain alone. People listened with quiet hearts, shared their stories, and helped each other with simple tasks. When one person holds another's sorrow with care, said the Buddha, the load is lighter and both are stronger. Children learned lessons about suffering as well. When a child cried over a lost toy, the Buddha did not scold or push away the sadness. Instead, he sat and watched the clouds, showing the child that sorrow too moves like the sky, and can be met with kindness. The Buddha taught that kindness to ourselves is key. Many people felt bad about feeling bad, adding shame on top of sadness. The Buddha reminded them, just as you would comfort a crying friend, comfort your own heart. Place your hand gently on your chest, breathe soft, and say, "It's okay to feel this way. I'm learning." Some asked, "Is it wrong to suffer? If I am wise, shouldn't I be happy all the time?" The Buddha answered, "No one is always happy. Even I know sadness. Wisdom is not to avoid pain, but to meet it without hatred and to let it teach you understanding and love." A story tells of a monk who broke his leg. Wincing with pain, he felt angry at his misfortune. The Buddha visited and listened. He did not say, "Do not hurt." Instead, he explained, when we feel pain, we can choose to multiply it with anger and fear, or soften it with patience and care. Try seeing your pain with curiosity. What changes? What stays? How does it move? Slowly, the monk's suffering grew less sharp, replaced by quiet patience. The Buddha explained that if you try to erase suffering completely, you will always feel chased and lost. But if you hold suffering gently, watching, breathing, accepting, it can become the very path to peace. By accepting life with all its ups and downs, joy and loss, you become brave, compassionate, and wise. He told his followers to remember, the lotus flower grows from mud. If you wish for only sunshine, no rain, you miss the flowers that bloom best from dark, rich earth. Suffering, when met with courage and care, gives rise to the most beautiful understanding. Now, as dusk falls and the Zen Master's voice grows softer, listen closely. Suffering is not the end of your story. Inside every painful moment is a space for patience, a chance to breathe, and the first gentle step toward peace. If you notice even once the beauty of breath, the love of a friend, the warmth of the sun, you are starting to transform suffering into wisdom and love. Walk gently with your suffering, breathe with it, learn from it. Each moment of acceptance brings a little more light, and in that light, your heart will find, even in pain, the quiet peace within. Stories of forgiveness, the freedom of letting go, told with kindness, warmth, in the simplest language, so that each story can feel as gentle and healing as a cool stream on a hot day. Make yourself comfortable and listen to the words unfold, not in single lines, but as soft, flowing descriptions that feel like a true conversation with a gentle Zen master. Forgiveness is a word people often use, but sometimes do not really feel inside their hearts. The Buddha understood that holding on to anger, shame, or hurt only makes suffering grow. He taught that with forgiveness, even just a little, we can begin to heal and set ourselves free. Imagine first a village where two old friends, Amar and Rudra, once shared everything. But one day, a small misunderstanding became a harsh quarrel. Harsh words were spoken, and their friendship broke apart. For many weeks, both men remembered the pain. Amar said, "I was wronged." Rudra muttered, "He never hears me." Each thought about their own hurt, their stubborn pride growing like a heavy stone. One morning, the Buddha visited their town. The villagers spoke quietly of this quarrel, wishing for peace. The Buddha listened with care and said, "Holding anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other to fall sick. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or saying what happened was right. It means setting down the heavy stone you have carried so long." He then invited Amar and Rudra to sit together beside a gentle stream. He asked, "Can you see how the water moves around the rocks, never staying angry at what blocks its path?" As they watched, slowly the men felt their anger begin to soften. Each spoke their truth and shared how they felt, not to blame, but to release what was inside. With the Buddha's gentle help, both found the courage to say, "I forgive you." The heaviness in their hearts lifted, and they began anew. The Buddha often shared stories to teach his followers about forgiveness. One day, a young monk named Sumit came to him, tears in his eyes. He had made a mistake and spoken unkindly to another. Now he was ashamed. The Buddha sat with him under the cool shade of a tree and asked him to pick up a dry leaf and crush it in his hand. "Now blow it away," he said. Sumit did, and the small pieces floated on the breeze. Just as the leaf is gone, carried off by the wind. Let your shame go. We all make mistakes. What matters is choosing kindness next time. Sumit learned that asking for forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but strength. In the days to come, he would offer simple apologies whenever he hurt someone, even by accident, and his heart grew lighter and his friendships deeper. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is oneself. A woman named Mira visited the Buddha, heavy with guilt for past choices. "I do not deserve kindness," she wept. The Buddha listened and then pointed to a tree bearing ripe fruit. "See how this tree gives shade and fruit to all who pass. Anyone, rich or poor, good or bad. Your heart can be like this tree, offering forgiveness not only to others, but to yourself." With practice, Mira learned to meet her own pain with patience, and slowly her self-forgiveness opened the door to new happiness. The Buddha also met children upset by unfairness. When a boy named Ajay's brother broke his toy, Ajay was angry. He pushed his brother away and cried alone. The Buddha gently sat beside him, sharing, "You can stay angry and your heart will ache, or you can forgive, and both your hearts will feel lighter." Ajay didn't know how. The Buddha said, "Begin with kindness, even if it's a small smile or a soft, 'I forgive you.' Forgiveness, like a tiny seed, will grow strong with each gentle act." Forgiveness was not just for close friends or family, the Buddha taught, but for everyone, even strangers or enemies. One afternoon, a traveler arrived, upset because someone from another village had cheated him. "How can I forgive what is so unfair?" he pleaded. The Buddha asked him to carry a heavy stick and walk up and down the hillside. After a while, the traveler grew tired and his back ached. "Why do you keep carrying the stick?" the Buddha asked, smiling softly. "Set it down and feel how much easier it is to walk." The traveler understood that carrying anger hurts no one but himself. In the Buddha's community, mistakes happened. People said the wrong thing or made a mess. Sometimes their mistakes hurt others, and sometimes they felt deeply ashamed. The Buddha's rule was simple. Whenever someone made a mistake, they should say sorry. And whenever someone was sorry, everyone should forgive, as best they could. Sometimes forgiving took time, but every attempt made the whole community happier and stronger. Forgiveness can also heal old pains that cannot be changed. Once, an old woman named Chandra came to the Buddha, her face full of sorrow. Her son had gone away many years before, after a fierce argument, and she had never seen him since. "I have only anger left. How can I forgive him?" she asked. The Buddha comforted her, saying, "Forgiveness is not a gift to the one who hurt you. It is a gift to your own heart, a way to let go of the past and welcome peace." With time, Chandra began to say quietly, "May my son be safe and well, wherever he is." Her heart slowly grew softer, and her nights became more peaceful. Children hearing these stories learn to forgive small things. Lost marbles, teased hair, forgotten promises. Their teachers noticed friendships grew deeper, laughter came quicker, and the classroom felt brighter. Some people thought forgiving was foolish, fearing they would be hurt again. The Buddha taught, forgiving does not mean allowing harm. You may set a boundary if someone is unkind, but inside, keeping anger is like locking your own heart in a cage. You can forgive and still protect yourself. Forgiveness, he said, is always for your own freedom. The Buddha loved to tell the story of a wild elephant who crashed through a field, destroying crops. At first, the farmer was furious and wanted revenge, but seeing the frightened animal fleeing, he remembered the Buddha's words and let go of his anger. Later, the elephant returned, calm and gentle, and helped the farmer rebuild what had been lost, showing that forgiveness can lead to unexpected blessing. Day by day, the Buddha encouraged people to practice forgiveness as often as they breathed. Whenever someone hurt their feelings, stole their place in line, broke a promise, or simply forgot, the Buddha told them to pause, breathe, and let go, even if only a little at a time. Imagine your mind like a clear sky, he said. Forgiveness is the wind that blows away the dark clouds, leaving space for sunlight and fresh air. Little by little, people found their lives changed. Old grudges faded. Neighbors grew closer. Families laughed more. And each night, hearts felt lighter and more at ease. So remember, forgiveness is one of the strongest, kindest acts you can give yourself and others. It is not always easy, but with each step, each kind word, each little apology, each time you let go rather than hold tight, your heart grows bigger, your mind grows clearer, and peace grows inside and all around you. This is the way of forgiveness, the gentle freedom that lets love and joy return again and again, as soft and healing as a gentle rain after a long drought. In every village, people spoke often of wanting more. Bigger houses, better food, finer clothes, and coins that clinked softly in the hand. Many believed happiness could be found only with more things to own or show. Sometimes people became so busy chasing after money or wishing for what others had, they forgot to notice the warmth of a smile, a good meal, the gentle sun on their face. One day, a rich man came to the Buddha. He wore bright robes and his shoes shone in the sun, but his face looked tired, his eyes worried and never still. He bowed and said, "I am the wealthiest in the city, but I cannot sleep at night. I fear thieves, and my heart aches for more. Why do I not feel happy?" The Buddha smiled kindly and offered him a cup of cool water. "What does this water taste like?" he asked. The man sipped, surprised by its sweetness. When your thirst is gone, you need no riches to be content. True wealth is a heart that is at peace with enough. The Buddha told many stories about contentment. He would ask people, "Have you ever watched a small bird on a branch? It has no gold, no house, only feathers and song. Yet it flies each morning, sings from its heart, and sleeps without worry." People laughed, realizing they had never thought to envy the simple freedom of a bird. The Buddha taught that wishing for more and more is like pouring water into a vase with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you add, it is never full. The secret to happiness, he would say, is learning to cherish what you have and to let go of always wanting more. If people listen quietly, they could feel their own hearts grow lighter, less twisted by envy, less worried by what might be missing. One story speaks of a poor farmer who invited the Buddha for a meal. The man apologized for having only plain rice and salt. The Buddha ate with deep joy, saying, "A meal shared with kindness fills the belly and the heart. You are rich in ways unseen." The farmer glowed with pride, not for his wealth, but for his spirit. Sometimes the Buddha's students would feel jealous of those with finer clothes or softer mats to sleep on. The Buddha simply took a deep breath and showed them a wildflower growing in rocky soil. See how it blooms without needing more than sun and rain? It smiles in simple beauty, not because it is better, but because it is itself. The Buddha explained that true wealth is not what you own on the outside. It is kindness, peace, good friends, laughter, health, and being satisfied with enough. A kind word, a gentle touch, a quiet walk at sunset. These are treasures that never rust or break, he would say. When your heart is grateful, you are richer than any king. One day a child came to the Buddha in tears. Her favorite toy had broken. She worried nothing could make her happy again. The Buddha listened, then gave her a soft feather he'd found on the ground. "This feather is light, it floats on the air, and no one can take it away in your mind. Happiness can be like this, found in small things if you notice." The girl smiled, her heart beginning to heal. Sometimes two neighbors compared what they owned, whose field was wider, whose mangoes sweeter. They would grow upset, believing they had less than deserved. The Buddha suggested, if you wish to compare, try counting your blessings instead. The love of a friend, the safety of home, the laughter of children. These are riches no thief can steal. Years passed and some of the Buddha's students grew old. They noticed that as they let go of chasing after more, their lives felt easier and more peaceful. Sitting under the trees together, they remembered that contentment is not giving up, but being happy with the simple beauty of now. The Buddha also taught that sharing brings true wealth. A bowl of rice given to the hungry, he said, fills two stomachs, the one who eats and the one who gives. Generosity multiplies happiness. Even if you have little, sharing turns small gifts into great joy. One mother who shared her last fruit with a neighbor found her heart overflowing, and her loneliness faded away. Another story tells of a monk who owned only a single robe and a wooden bowl. Every night he cleaned them with care, never feeling poor. "These are enough," he said. "With them I can eat, I can sleep, I can walk with peace in my heart." Years later, he was loved by many not for what he had, but for his calm, steady happiness. The Buddha explained that craving, always wanting more, is like a fire that always wants more wood. If you keep feeding it, you never know rest. But stop and look around, see what you already have, and feel your own heart. When you no longer race after riches, you find time to enjoy every flower, smile, and gentle breeze. In times of trouble, when crops failed or storms blew roofs away, those who practiced contentment suffered less. Neighbors with little could still find hope in each other, in simple meals shared, in old songs sung by moonlight. A farmer once said, "With the Buddha's teaching, my heart feels full, even when my bowl is not." Children learned too. When they shared toys or helped a friend, their games became more joyful. They discovered that happiness grows when given away and shrinks when held too tightly. They learned to say thank you for each day, for their families, for even the rain that made puddles for playing. Healing comes with contentment. The Buddha said, "A peaceful heart brings restful sleep, easy smiles, and a gentle spirit." People saw that greed brought only pain, but a grateful heart felt soft and safe. So remember, when you are tempted by envy or sadness for things you do not have, pause and look around gently. Notice a bird song, the strength of your hands, the kindness of someone near. If you can breathe easily and care deeply, you are already rich. With every day you choose gratitude over greed, your true wealth grows as quietly and surely as seeds becoming trees in spring. This is the Buddha's way: simple, gentle, and deeply kind. Practice contentment, share what you have, and be grateful each day. This is how the richest heart is made, and the simplest, most beautiful happiness is found. The ripple effect: generosity and its rewards. Find a peaceful spot in your heart as we walk together through stories of giving and the gentle happiness that grows when we share. Listen to these words as if you are sitting near a slow river, cool breeze on your face, the Zen Masters speaking softly to help you see how one small act of kindness can touch the world. Long ago, the Buddha and his students traveled from village to village with nothing but robes and simple begging bowls. They ate only what was offered to them and accepted whatever was placed with a thankful smile. Plain rice, vegetables, sometimes sweet fruits, sometimes only a little water. The Buddha taught his followers not only how to receive with gratitude, but how to give with a warm, open heart. In one small town, there lived an old woman named Mina, who was poor in coins, but rich in kindness. Each morning she swept her tiny yard, and whatever small food she could spare, she split in two, half for herself, half for a wandering dog that always came hungry. I do not have much, she thought, but I can always share. The Buddha, seeing Mina's gentle ways, said to his followers, "Do you see the joy on her face? True wealth is not kept in a box. It grows in every act of giving." The Buddha spoke often about generosity, calling it dana, the joyful act of giving without expecting anything back. Generosity, he explained, is like a pebble dropped in water. The small ripple grows and spreads in wider and wider circles until the whole pond smiles in sunlight. One day a merchant asked, "If I give away my fortune, will I not become poor?" The Buddha's eyes sparkled. "If you light a lamp from another, does your own light grow less? Giving does not empty you. It brightens you, and all who stand near." There was once a boy who found a lost sparrow shivering in the cold forest. He took it in his hands and shared a little rice from his lunch. His friends laughed, saying he was silly to use his food for a bird. But the next day, more birds began to gather near him, singing sweet songs. Soon other children watched and wanted to join. The kindness of one child became a garden of joy for many. The Buddha said, "See how kindness grows? What you give returns in ways you cannot count, sometimes as a smile, sometimes as a friend, sometimes as peace inside your own heart." In the Buddha's travels, he told a story of a king who loved to show off his gifts. He held great feasts and gave gold to important guests, yet something always felt empty in his heart. The king asked the Buddha, "Why does giving not make me happy?" The Buddha replied, "True giving is quiet and free. When you share with no wish for praise or reward, your heart feels full, and happiness comes to stay." A young mother named Tara heard these words. Though she could not give gold, she greeted all with kind words. If someone was tired, she shared her scarf as a pillow. She taught her children to fill bowls with water for thirsty birds. Slowly, her home became a place where all felt welcome. Children, neighbors, even strangers, and gentle laughter filled her days. The Buddha taught that generosity is not only about things or money. It can be a soft smile, a kind word, listening to someone's troubles, or giving time to help a neighbor. One evening, a sad monk named Kavi confessed, "I have nothing left to give." The Buddha asked, "Can you still share your patience, your understanding?" Even these, the Buddha said, are powerful gifts. He explained, when you give from the heart, even the smallest act, helping someone cross a street, picking up a fallen child, filling a cup of water, makes you part of a gentle chain that binds the world together in goodness. Sometimes people feared sharing would leave them with nothing, especially during hard seasons. The Buddha told the story of a drought when food and water were scarce. A brave woman made a small meal and called her hungry neighbors to share. "I worry I may go hungry tomorrow," she admitted. But after the dinner, each neighbor brought something: some fruit, some milk, a bundle of firewood. Her generosity returned to her again and again until all in her circle were cared for. The Buddha explained, the heart, like the hands, cannot stay closed if we wish to receive or give. An open hand may be empty for a moment, but soon it is filled by the kindness of others, or by the warm feeling that comes from helping. A child once asked, "If I share my cookie, will I have less?" The Buddha knelt down and smiled. "You will have less cookie, but more joy, more friends, more happiness. What would you rather hold on to?" The child laughed and broke his treat in two. In another village, an angry man refused to help his elderly neighbor, saying, "She has never given me anything." The Buddha said, "If you wait for others to give first, kindness never begins. Like the sun shining without waiting for thanks, let your kindness go out and watch the world grow warm." The Buddha's followers learned to see generosity as a practice, like planting seeds in spring. Sometimes recognition or reward came quickly, sometimes never at all. But the habit of giving always made their days brighter, their homes more peaceful, and their hearts easier to live with. A wise monk once explained, "Some gifts are so simple no one notices: a flower picked for a friend, a silent prayer for someone sad, a quiet wish for luck as you pass a stranger. Each one is a tiny ripple that moves far beyond where you can see." The Buddha also taught that the best gift is the gift given in secret, where no one can praise you and only your heart knows the truth. Such gifts create a light within that guides you through even the hardest nights. Children learn to help those who stumbled, to pick fruit for those who could not reach, and to wipe tears from a friend's face. With each kind act, their world changed. Schoolyards became more friendly, homes more loving, villages closer than before. Adults noticed too. Neighbors shared tools and stories, and gatherings grew joyful. When a storm came and ruined crops, everyone came together without asking who owned what. They remembered the Buddha's story: what you give makes you richer, what you hold too tightly can disappear. Over time, people in many places adopted this way of giving. Markets filled with laughter, friends visited each other with gifts of fruit or rice, and no one ate alone when there was enough to share. Even in hard times, kindness and generosity became the true wealth of the land. As dusk falls and the first stars appear, the Zen Master reminds you, each time you give, no matter how small, the world grows a little brighter. Each gentle act is a drop in the great river of kindness, flowing through all lives, making the journey softer, the burdens lighter, and the joys deeper. So carry this lesson quietly with you. Generosity is both a gift given and a reward received. From open hands, open hearts, and open lives, all goodness flows, rippling out into the world in ways you may never see, but always feel. This is the Buddha's way of generosity, a soft, strong current that brings healing and hope again and again, wherever the spirit of giving is found. Let us gently step together into part 14, listening to silence, the role of meditation. Find a quiet place in your heart as the Zen Master tells you about the softest, simplest practice, the power of silence and sitting still. Imagine the words draping around you like a soft blanket, calm and slow, turning your attention gently inward. Story by story, like walking peacefully inside your own breath. Once, in the shade of a great fig tree, the Buddha sat with his eyes closed and his hands resting lightly in his lap. Around him, the world was noisier than ever. Birds calling, children laughing, carts rolling by, even the wind whispering through leaves. But the Buddha was still. His face was peaceful, his breath slow and calm. When curious villagers asked, "What are you doing, sitting Buddha?" he smiled, "I am listening to silence." People wondered, how could anyone listen to silence? There is nothing to hear. But the Buddha explained that silence is not emptiness. It is a place where the mind rests when it stops chasing after noise, worries, and endless thinking. He invited everyone, come, sit quietly, close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, feel the earth beneath you. Do nothing for just a few minutes each day. Simply listen. It didn't matter if people were young or old, happy or sad. When they sat down and became still, something gentle always happened. At first, their minds felt noisy. Thoughts flew around like birds. What should I do next? What if I forget something? What about yesterday? But the Buddha taught, when thoughts come, notice them, then let them drift away like clouds crossing the sky. Return to your breath. Notice silence beneath all the noise. Each time people practiced, their worries felt a little lighter. At first, maybe just one breath, then 10 breaths, then a whole minute. Soon, some could sit quietly for longer, feeling a calm inside so soft that even the world's loudest troubles seemed far away. They discovered that peace was not something outside to find, but something inside, already waiting, just beneath all the usual chatter. The Buddha loved to share the story of a pond. When the wind is wild, the water ripples, and you cannot see the bottom. If you wait, the wind calms, and the water becomes clear again, showing pebbles, fish, even your own reflection. The mind is the same. Silence, like still water, lets you see yourself true and deep. He taught children to listen to the sound of their breath, like the gentle waves of the ocean, in and out, coming and going, never rushing or forced. If you watch carefully, he smiled, peace rises up, quiet and gentle, like a flower opening at dawn. The Buddha met people who felt worried they could not meditate correctly. Some became annoyed by their own thoughts, or restless bodies, or the sounds around them. He soothed them with kindness, saying, "There is no wrong way to be still. Just sit, breathe, and notice. If you get distracted, simply come back. Each time, you are practicing peace." In the heart of silence, the Buddha found answers to questions too big for words. He explained, sometimes thinking and talking only make the mind more tangled, but in quiet, answers come, not as words, but as gentle knowing, an understanding that everything is okay, just as it is. Those who practiced silence with the Buddha soon changed. They became less quick to anger, less frightened by trouble, more patient with children, friends, and even strangers. People wondered at the calm faces of monks, the gentle steps of nuns, the kindness in everyday words. The Buddha said, "Stillness is like water for thirsty roots. It nurtures the heart and mind so goodness can bloom. Farmers took moments of stillness before planting seeds. Bakers closed their eyes and breathed deeply before kneading dough. Potters shaped clay in quiet, listening to the soft sounds of their work. Everyone in cities and fields discovered that even a few breaths in deep silence made the day easier and the burdens lighter. One day a student asked, "What if troubles are too loud or grief too heavy to find silence?" The Buddha invited him to sit beside him on a large stone. There they simply sat. No words, no teachings, only breathing together. Tears fell, but the soft rhythm of breath slowly quieted the student's heart. The Buddha whispered, "In silence, pain is not pushed away. It is held kindly until it softens." The student understood. Silence does not erase troubles, but it makes room for healing. Silence also became a place for joy. Mothers and fathers sat beside their children after a big meal, sharing the comfort of warm, quiet together. Friends sat quietly under trees, feeling connected without talking. Even animals seemed to sense the peace lying at the feet of those who practice stillness. The Buddha explained meditation could be walking too, moving slowly, feeling each step, each breath, paying soft attention to the world as it is right now. "You do not have to fold your legs or close your eyes," he smiled. "To meditate is to be present, to listen gently to the world and to your own heart." He taught his students to notice the silence in every sound, the space between notes and music, the pause at the end of a sentence, the breath taken before laughter. Without silence, there would be no song, no laughter, no peace. Sometimes people believed meditation was only for monks or wise teachers, but the Buddha reminded them, anyone, old or young, busy or tired, can find a quiet moment. Sit with your morning tea, pause on your way to work, listen to the rain on your window. Silence is always waiting, like a friend. As more practiced, the village became softer and calmer. Arguments grew shorter, patience longer, and people remembered to smile with their eyes as well as their mouths. The Buddha called this the gift of silence, the greatest gift you can give yourself and others, for from silence comes all wise words, good actions, and soft hearts. In times of trouble, when storms broke branches or words became sharp, the Buddha reminded people to return to silence, to watch the mind settle, to see wounds begin to heal from within. Just as night cools a burning day, silence soothes a tired soul, he taught. Children learn to listen for the quiet hush right before a story begins, feeling wonder and safety. Elders sat in the cool of evening, eyes closed, remembering the joys and sorrows of a long life, feeling grateful for the peace that silence brought. Over time, meditation became not just something to do, but a way to live, moving through life with a quiet presence, a gentle step, and the ability to pause, listen deeply, breathe and begin again, no matter what the day brings. So as the sun begins to set in our story, remember, silence is not empty. It is full of peace, healing, and hope. Every moment you choose to pause, breathe, and listen to the soft silence inside is a step on the Buddha's path. A path anyone can walk, one quiet moment at a time. This is the gentle power of meditation, the art of listening to silence, the simplest way to heal, to grow calm, and to come home to your deepest self again and again with every breath. Let us walk quietly into part 15, Seeing with Wisdom, Overcoming Ignorance. Imagine us together under a wise old tree, gentle sunlight flickering through leaves, while I, as your Zen master, tell story after story about seeing things clearly, about wisdom, and about how the Buddha helped people open their eyes and hearts to understand life in a simple, true way. The Buddha once told his students, "When people walk in darkness, even the smoothest path becomes hard to follow. They stumble, feel lost, and fear what they cannot see. But when someone lights a lamp, suddenly the world becomes clear. Wisdom is like that lamp. It chases away the darkness of not knowing or ignorance and lets us live with understanding and peace." Long ago, in a small village, there lived a man named Surya. He was kind but always worried and confused. He worked hard, but his heart was never settled. Surya thought happiness would come from owning land or having praise from the village. Each day, he tried to win more respect, but worry stayed with him like a shadow. One morning, he met the Buddha and asked, "Why is my life so anxious even when I have so much?" The Buddha smiled. "Your mind is like a muddy pond. When you stir it with wanting, fear, and jealousy, nothing is clear. But if you let the mud settle, the water grows bright, and you can see deep down. Wisdom comes not from grabbing at new things, but from seeing what is truly there." The Buddha told many stories to help people understand wisdom. One story is about 6 blind men and an elephant. Each one touches a different part: the trunk, the ear, the leg, the tail, the side, the tusk. Each says, "The elephant is like a snake." "No." "Like a fan." "No." "Like a wall." Each man believes his own experience is the whole truth, and they argue. The Buddha gently laughs and explains, "When you see only one piece, you argue in the dark." Wisdom means seeing the whole picture, listening to others, and knowing your own limits. In another village, a mother worried her son was lazy and slow to learn. She feared he would never be wise. The Buddha told her, "Every seed takes its own time to grow. Compare not your child to others, but water his mind with kindness and patience. Wisdom grows in many gardens, in its own gentle way." Wisdom, the Buddha said, begins with curiosity, asking gentle questions and not pretending to know everything. He encouraged his students to notice their own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Ask yourself, is this thought wise? Does it lead to happiness or more worry? When people looked inside this way, they began to understand why they did what they did and how small changes brought big peace. One of the Buddha's followers, Ananda, once thought clever words made a wise man. He memorized every rule, quoted the scriptures, and spoke quickly in debates. Yet he often felt tired and unhappy. The Buddha noticed and said, "Wisdom is not in reciting many words. It is listening with your heart, speaking with care, and acting with kindness. True wisdom is gentle, honest, and full of understanding." The Buddha often said that ignorance, the darkness of not seeing or not understanding, leads to suffering. People hurt others or themselves not from evil, but from not knowing the true effect of their actions. He taught, if a person in the dark steps on a thorn, it is not their fault. But once there is light, they can walk safely. Bring the lamp of wisdom to your every thought, every word, every deed. He used practical examples. Once, 2 farmers argued about whose ox was stronger. Instead of fighting, the Buddha suggested, instead of pulling against each other, try working together. With new understanding, the farmers stopped quarreling and their work became easier. Wisdom, the Buddha said, often means seeing how things connect, how kindness, patience, and gentle action change lives for the better. The Buddha taught about right view, seeing clearly the nature of life, that suffering exists, that everything changes, that wishing for things to always stay the same brings pain, Accepting these truths with a calm mind helps suffering fade. He described right thought, right speech, and right action. Simple steps anyone could practice. Wisdom comes not in a flash, but day by day, like a tree growing new rings each year. Children learn from the Buddha too. He taught them that to be wise was also to be gentle and open-minded. "There is no shame in not knowing," he said kindly. "The shame is in not being willing to learn." Children smiled, free from the fear of asking questions or making mistakes. One young girl, Mina, always asked why the sky was blue, why people grew old, why there was pain in the world. Some adults grew frustrated with her endless questions, but the Buddha welcomed her, saying, "These are the questions of wisdom. With each honest question, your mind grows brighter. Never stop looking, listening, learning." The Buddha shared that wisdom also means letting go of old views that do not help. Sometimes people hold tightly to ideas from childhood or from anger, even when those ideas hurt themselves or others. He encouraged, like a gardener removes weeds to help flowers grow, take out beliefs that bring pain or confusion. Make space for fresh, healthy understanding. He told the story of a monk who stubbornly thought only his way was correct. If you close your eyes to every new idea, your heart shrinks and your mind turns narrow. But if you listen, question, and stay open, you grow wise like the rising sun, spreading light everywhere. One evening, the Buddha explained that wisdom is not just for the wise, not only for monks or scholars, but for anyone willing to pay attention with honesty and kindness. Shopkeepers, farmers, mothers, workers, all can choose to see with wisdom, even in the small things of daily life. He explained that anger, jealousy, greed, and pride are like heavy curtains blocking the sunlight. To see clearly, one must gently draw them aside, letting light pour into the heart. Gentle thoughts, generous acts, and an open mind slowly open the window to wisdom. Villages changed as these teachings spread. Fewer arguments, more understanding. If trouble came, people paused to ask, "What is the wisest thing I can do now?" If mistakes happened, they learned, forgave, and tried another way. Parents listened more. Friends encouraged each other to ask questions, to keep curious, to learn new things at any age. As an old Zen saying goes, to know and not to use is not wise. To see and not to understand is not seeing at all. The Buddha taught that true wisdom is always alive. It asks, listens, and changes when new truth is found. He reminded everyone, as water carves stone, steady patience makes wisdom grow. No matter your age or past, you can see more, understand more, and bring more light to yourself and those you love. And so, as the sun dips low and the gentle breeze whispers through leaves, remember this: wisdom is not far, not hard, not only for the very smart. It is a lamp you light by being honest, humble, gentle, and willing to learn and change. With each step on the path, your heart sees better, your mind grows brighter, and the darkness falls away, softly, simply, and surely, with every act of seeing truly again and again. This is how, with the Buddha's kindness and patience, the people learn to see with wisdom and overcome the darkness of not knowing. And it is how you too can invite that gentle wisdom to light your days now and always. Courage in the storm, facing fear and adversity. Imagine a quiet place where your heart can rest, a safe corner under a big, strong tree, with the Zen Master telling gentle stories of how the Buddha encouraged people to stand bravely when life grows wild and frightening. Here, every story is spoken slowly, with caring words in very simple language so that anyone can understand and feel safe, no matter what storms they face. From the earliest days, people brought their fears to the Buddha. Some were afraid of losing what they loved. Some feared being alone. Others trembled at storms, wild animals, angry people, or the long shadow of sickness and old age. At the root of all these worries, the Buddha saw that every heart sometimes trembles, just as trees bend when winds are strong. One afternoon, as heavy clouds gathered and thunder rumbled over the fields, a group of children ran to the Buddha, their eyes wide with fear. "The sky is angry," they cried. The Buddha welcomed them close and said, "Storms come and go, just as fear comes and goes. Sit with me a while, listen to your own breath, and notice you are safe right now, right here." Together they listened to the rain, feeling its coolness, watching its dance. Little by little, the children's shoulders relaxed, their breathing slowed, and the storm's power shrank. The Buddha smiled. "You cannot stop storms, but you can find stillness inside, even as the wind howls. Fear," the Buddha explained, "is not an enemy. It is just a visitor, a message from the mind to pay attention. In small and big fears, there is wisdom. Some fears warn us about real danger. Other fears are worries about things that never happen." The Buddha called this second kind of fear waves on the mind's ocean. They look big, but soon pass. Instead of fighting or running from fear, he taught people to greet it gently, asking, "What are you here to teach me?" Many learned this lesson. One story tells of Jaya, a farmer who was afraid of losing his crops to drought. Every day his mind was filled with worries. What if there is no rain? What if my family goes hungry? He could not sleep or laugh. The Buddha asked Jaya to hold a stone in each hand and walk the village. Before long, Jaya felt tired. "Let them go," the Buddha said. "Feel the relief?" Jaya learned that carrying worries grows heavier by the day. If you gently put down what you cannot control, your heart grows lighter. "Face what you can," the Buddha told him, "and release what you cannot." Not every fear is about the future. Some come from memories, a sad loss, a painful failure, a harsh word spoken long ago. The Buddha explained, "Your mind may bring old storms back again and again, but each time you can notice, breathe, and comfort yourself. Pain will visit, but you do not have to let it stay forever." One afternoon, a small group of monks told the Buddha they feared meditating in the forest. The woods at night creaked and groaned. Wild animals prowled. "What if danger comes?" they whispered. The Buddha listened, then asked, "When you sit under the trees, remember to invite loving wishes to every creature, to every sound. Say quietly in your heart, 'May you be safe. May I be safe.'" With this simple wish, the monks found their fears faded, replaced by a gentle warmth for all living things. Sometimes fear makes itself big by whispering, "You are alone." The Buddha reminded everyone, no one has to face life alone. Every heart beats with others. Together we are stronger than any storm. In his community, friends shared their fears and kindnesses alike. When someone trembled, others held their hand, sharing a story or a quiet cup of tea. In such company, the worst fears became lighter. The Buddha taught that courage is not the absence of fear, but the gentle act of stepping forward, even when scared. He told the story of Maya, a young woman afraid to speak her mind. Each day, she watched others share ideas, her heart pounding. The Buddha said softly, "Courage is a single step, not a leap. Try saying one truth, even quietly." Maya did, and little by little, her voice grew stronger, her worry shrank. With every brave step, the Buddha said, your world gets a little wider. One evening, as the sun set red and gold, an old man wept before the Buddha. "I am afraid of dying," he said. "What comes after this life?" The Buddha sat with him, not arguing or pretending to know all answers. Instead, he breathed quietly and shared, "Everyone must walk this path, but no one walks it alone. Just as night falls and morning comes, so too life changes into something new. You can be gentle with your fear and trust that peace is possible, even in the last breath." The old man, feeling seen and not judged, found his heart a little calmer. Sometimes courage means asking for help. The Buddha's students learned that admitting fear was a sign of wisdom, not weakness. When you say, "I am afraid," you are opening a door, the Buddha said. Light comes in and help walks through. Children learn to name their fears. A monster under the bed, the dark being left out. With each gentle word, fear faded. The Buddha taught parents to listen with open arms, to say, "Tell me more," and to remind their children, fear is allowed and you are safe. The Buddha showed everyone that even he had known fear, on his quest for truth, facing hunger, doubt, and loneliness. He did not run or hide from fear. Instead, he sat quietly with it, breathing deeply, watching the feeling rise and fade. The mind is like a sky with passing cloud, he taught. Fear comes, fear goes. The sky remains open and calm. In a village once troubled by fierce quarrels, people feared their neighbors, locking doors and whispering instead of greeting with smiles. The Buddha visited and told the story of two oxen tied to the same cart. They pulled in different directions, and the cart went nowhere. But when they walked together, even their biggest fears, tigers, storms, rough roads, were easier to face. The people listened, forgave old slights, and soon the village felt safer, more joyful, with trust slowly taking fear's place. One young monk, Lomi, was afraid of speaking in public. The Buddha smiled. Stand tall, breathe deep, look softly at one person's friendly face. Courage grows, one word at a time. Lomi learned that the more he practiced, the less fear held him tight. The Buddha also showed that sometimes facing a fear makes it disappear. Chase the shadows, you find only light. He suggested that each day, take one small step toward what scares you. If afraid of the dark, sit quietly as the lamp goes out. If scared of water, splash a little on your hand. Each brave act, no matter how small, grows a garden of courage inside you. He told that facing adversity, hard days, sickness, loss, or heartbreak, was also an act of bravery. Sometimes all you can do is get up, take one step, offer one smile, or speak one gentle word. Courage is quiet, the Buddha said. It does not shout. It breathes, endures, and comforts. Often people learn that what they feared was not as terrible as their minds imagined. One boy who feared failing a test discovered that, even with a low mark, life went on and friends still cared for him. A mother afraid of rain flooding her field saw that, after the puddles dried, new green shoots grew stronger than before. The Buddha taught his followers to repeat gentle words to themselves whenever fear grew big. This too shall pass. I am safe right now. I am not alone. I am doing my best. In time, these words became anchors, steadying even the stormiest days. Elders in the community share their stories of fears faced over long years. Leaving home, losing loved ones, starting anew. They remembered how every fear, when met kindly and patiently, shrank and taught them strength they never knew they had. The Buddha summed up his teaching on fear with a simple image. The bamboo bends in the wind, yet does not break. Let your heart be soft and flexible, not brittle with dread. You will survive every storm, and the sun will shine once more. So as the day's light fades, remember, everyone feels fear. What matters most is how you meet it, gently, step by step, asking for help, listening to your heart, breathing calmly in the wild wind. Each time you face fear, you grow stronger, braver, and more loving. This is courage in the storm, not the absence of fear, but the patient, gentle light of hope, kindness, and love shining through, whatever the world may bring. And this is the Buddha's gift, to help you find the quiet lion's heart within you, ready to guide you, even on the darkest night. The lotus blooms, growth through hardship. Picture yourself sitting beside me, the Zen master by a quiet lotus pond. The sun is gentle, the breeze tender, and we let our minds settle as we share stories about how, from the deepest mud and the hardest challenges, something beautiful can always grow. These words are like soft ripples, simple and calm, guiding you to see your life and struggles from a new and hopeful place. Long ago, deep in the forests and villages, Buddha noticed something very special. He saw the way lotus flowers grew, not from clean or easy places, but from murky, muddy water. Their roots dug deep into the slime, but each morning, a pure blossom opened out, clean, bright, and full of light. Buddha loved the lotus and often told his followers, just like the lotus grows from mud, the most beautiful hearts grow from hardship. Everyone faces hard times, moments when life feels heavy, sad, or confusing. There are days when bad news arrives, when friends turn away, or when the body aches and feels weak. Each of us carries our own mud, a lost dream, a mistake made, a long illness, a family quarrel, or a feeling of loneliness in a busy world. The Buddha taught that suffering is part of being alive, but he also showed that inside this trouble, seeds of wisdom and strength are waiting to bloom. One day, a young man named Arun sat by the Buddha, tears shining in his eyes. "Why do I suffer so much?" he asked. "Why can't life be easier?" The Buddha listened with care and handed Arun a small lotus bud. "You see only the mud, but hidden in the mud the flower is waiting. Your pain is the soil your heart will grow from. The more gentle you are with your mud, the stronger and kinder your heart will become." Arun took the lesson quietly and, with patience, began to notice that each time he faced something hard, he also grew braver and more understanding. The Buddha shared another story of a woman named Soma who lost her home in a great fire. With nothing left, no food, no roof, she felt hopeless. But in her darkest days, neighbors shared their meals, and a stranger rebuilt her fence. Through her hardship, Soma discovered compassion from others, and even more, compassion inside herself. Later, as her life slowly returned to peace, she used her experience to care for others in trouble, her heart now wide and soft like the open lotus in the pond. Hardship is not just something to survive, the Buddha taught. It is a quiet teacher. When you feel you are sinking, he said, do not fight the mud. Be gentle, breathe, and remember. Mud gives birth to the lotus. Sometimes troubles teach us patience, for you cannot rush the sun or hurry the blossom. Sometimes hardship teaches gratitude, for when joy returns, even simple things feel like gold. One day, monks came to the Buddha, exhausted from a long journey across stony ground. Their feet ached, their minds grew tired and short-tempered. Why must our path be so rough? They wondered aloud. The Buddha pointed to the lotus pond. See how the hardest roots push through hardest mud? Every step you take through challenge grows your strength, makes your peace deeper, your joy brighter. Children listen to these teachings too. When teased or left out by friends, they hurt inside. The Buddha would comfort them. Even pain can be a friend if you meet it kindly. The hardest feelings, like heavy rain, prepare the earth for sweet new growth. Slowly, children learned not to fear the mud, clumsy moments, lost toys, a scraped knee, but to see each trouble as a step toward becoming gentle, strong, and wise. In villages struck by drought or flood, people felt despair. Crops failed, houses were lost. Still, the Buddha reminded them, share your sorrow and your rice. From shared hardship, new friendship blooms. When storms ended, villagers found they were closer, kinder, and more grateful, not just for full bowls, but for caring hands and loving hearts. Sometimes hardship is invisible, a worry that won't go away, a secret shame or fear about the future. The Buddha taught that hiding from struggle never makes it disappear. Be honest about your mud, he said gently. Speak it, share it, and watch how sunlight warms even the darkest pond. His students learned to talk about what hurt and to listen with soft ears when others spoke. Little by little, hardship shrank and wisdom grew in its place. One student, Preeti, was born with legs that would not walk. She felt small and different. But sitting with the Buddha, she listened to stories, learned to sing, and became a friend to all. Her eyes shone with understanding. Even though my body cannot run, she once said, my heart has learned to travel far, through sadness, through joy, through love. Her kindness was a bright blossom in the garden of the Buddha's community. The Buddha never said life should be easy, or that hardship would vanish with a wish. He simply smiled and taught, if you water the seeds of hope, stay patient in hardship, and open your heart to even the smallest joys, one day you will see your own lotus beginning to bloom. Even the Buddha, wise and peaceful, endured loss, criticism, and many lonely days. When insulted, he remembered it was just mud on his journey. When tired, he rested. When sad, he breathed deeply and trusted that pain too would pass. He showed his students to be gentle with themselves, not to judge their feelings, and to bend, not break, in the winds of hardship. He liked to say, when you struggle, remember you are not alone. Every person, like every lotus, grows through mud. When you help someone in their hard times, offering a smile, an ear, a hand, you help both their lotus and your own to open. The simple acts of kindness, born from struggle, are the brightest blossoms in any day. Over time, the people learned that hardship often brought surprising gifts, patience, stronger friendships, a deeper sense of what matters, and the courage to try again after falling. Like the pond filled with blooms at sunrise, each person's heart could become a garden if tended with kindness, patience, and hope. So as the day moves gently on and the soft light glows across the water, remember the greatest lesson the lotus teaches. You do not have to fear the mud or hide your struggles. Every pain and every tough day is softening your heart, helping it open a little more. With each patient breath, each gentle word, each brave step forward, you give your heart the chance to bloom, pure, bright, and welcoming, just as the lotus rises from the mud into the morning sun. This is the way the Buddha invited all people to walk, not away from hardship, but through it, with patience, kindness, and trust in the gentle, unstoppable bloom that is waiting inside every heart. Inner light. Stories of self-realization. Imagine us seated quietly beneath a wide, gentle sky, the air smooth and easy, with bird songs like distant dreams. As a Zen master, my voice is calm and slow. Together, we will gently walk through stories and teachings about finding the inner light within yourself, even if the world outside sometimes feels dark or confusing. Each word is simple and soft, just like a friend sitting beside you, hoping you see how wisdom and goodness already shine in your own heart. Long ago, after the Buddha spent many years teaching about suffering, kindness, and change, people began to wonder if true happiness had to be found somewhere far away, in a temple, in a wise teacher, or a distant land. But the Buddha taught something different, and he did it by pointing not outward, but inward, reminding everyone that the greatest treasure was already inside. One early morning, as mist hung softly over the fields, a worried woman came to the Buddha. She bowed and asked, "My heart feels lost, always looking for answers. I wish I could find the same peace you have. Where should I look?" The Buddha smiled, touching his own chest. "What you are searching for is not outside of you, but within. It is like looking for your own face in a mirror. Just turn gently and see. There is a light deep in your heart, always waiting to be found." He explained that every person is born with an inner light, a quiet wisdom and gentle goodness. Sometimes we forget about it because our minds are busy or our hearts hurt. But no matter what we do or where we go, this light is never lost. It can be covered by worry, fear, or anger, like a lamp covered by a cloth. Yet underneath it still glows, soft and steady, ready for the day you see it again. The Buddha described self-realization as the gentle art of knowing yourself truly and kindly. It means seeing not just your troubles, but also your hopes, dreams, and the soft, steady glow of your own heart. He said, "We are often taught to look for happiness outside, a new toy, a kind word, a friend's smile. These things are lovely, but your deepest joy comes from the gentle light inside you. Sit quietly, breathe, and trust that you, the real you, are already good." To help his followers see their own inner light, the Buddha told the story of a lost gemstone. A poor man searching for wood in the forest lay down to rest by the river. Unknowingly, a passing merchant dropped a precious jewel into the man's bag. The man worried each day about his troubles, not knowing he already carried great riches. Only years later, when opening his bag in another town, did he find the sparkling jewel. The Buddha smiled. "Do not forget to look within. The heart you have is already precious and wise." Sometimes people believed that only monks, nuns, or teachers could realize their true self. The Buddha explained again and again that everyone, children and elders, rich and poor, happy and sad, carries this same light. Self-realization is not about being perfect or doing everything right. It is about seeing yourself clearly, accepting your whole self, and choosing to be gentle, even with your struggles. The Buddha also reminded his students that the path to seeing their inner light often starts with small acts. He encouraged them to listen quietly to their own thoughts and feelings, not with judgment, but with patience and interest. He taught, "Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need? How can I be kind to myself in this moment?" Over time, these questions opened doors in the heart, and the light within grew softer and easier to see. Many stories tell of how people change as they realize their inner wisdom. Once, a proud merchant named Bala always believed only gold mattered. The Buddha invited him to spend one day in silence. watching the sunrise, feeling the wind, listening to his own breath. At first, Bala felt foolish, thinking nothing would change. But as the sun rose higher, he felt something soften inside, a sense of calm and happiness that did not depend on gold or praise. That day he discovered a gentle joy shining from within, and his whole life became lighter. Even those who struggled the most could find this light. A woman named Lata, full of anger after a friend betrayed her, went to the Buddha in tears. He gently touched her hand and said, "Even when you are angry, your light is still there. Breathe quietly, feel your pain, and then ask, what is underneath this anger?" When Lata did, she found fear and loneliness, and beneath those a wish to understand and love. She saw at last the soft glow of her own heart, waiting patiently for her to notice. The Buddha often compared the journey of self-realization to the slow opening of a flower bud. You do not force the petals apart, he explained. Just offer sun, water, and care, and the flower opens when it is ready. Your heart is the same. Be patient and gentle with yourself, and little by little, your true self will bloom. He taught his community to practice honesty, not just with others, but with their own feelings and thoughts. If they felt sad or confused, it was okay to notice and accept it. If they felt proud or jealous, that too was only a passing cloud. Underneath every feeling, the heart still shines. The Buddha encouraged everyone to use meditation as a way to see their inner light more clearly. Whether walking, sitting, or working, he reminded his followers to stop now and then, breathe deeply, and gently remember, I am enough. I am learning. My light is here. As they practiced, people became calmer, kinder, and more patient, not because life became easy, but because their own light helped them see in the dark. In times of trouble, people sometimes forgot about their inner light. They felt lost, scared, or alone. The Buddha would remind them, imagine you are in a cave, surrounded by shadows. If you carry a lamp, even a small one, the path is safer. Your heart is that lamp. Each breath, each soft word, each act of care makes your way brighter. He shared stories of children who feared the dark, elders who worried about the future, villagers who compared themselves to others and felt small. Each time the answer was gentle. Sit quietly, breathe, and look within. There they saw not just their pain, but also their strength, hope, and the loving light that never goes out. Villagers learned to see this light in each other. They praised and encouraged children, listened kindly to those who struggled, reminded friends and family that even in hard times, goodness lived in every heart. The community changed. People smiled more, shared worries and hopes, and reminded each other gently, you carry a great light, never forget. So as the day grows quiet and the gentle sky darkens, let us remember, your inner light is always present. You do not have to be perfect, rich, strong, or wise to find it. You need only pause, notice your breath, and look inside with kindness. In every joy, every struggle, every quiet moment, your light waits, soft, steady, and ready to guide you through every path your life may travel. This is the Buddha's gift, the teaching that self-realization is not far away, not for someone else, but for you, right here, right now. Trust in your inner light, care for it gently, and let it shine for you and everyone you meet, every day of your gentle and precious life. The journey continues, conclusion and lasting transformation. This is the last story in our gentle circle. Imagine soft light at the end of a long, safe path, with cool evening air wrapping around you. As the Zen master, I speak these words with warmth, in the simplest way, so they can find a home in your heart, wherever you are, wherever you go next. When a story ends, it is not really over. Instead, it becomes something new inside us, a memory, a lesson, a brightness that shapes our next step. We have walked together through the Buddha's stories of kindness, forgiveness, mindfulness, hope, and the secret light we all carry within. Every story, every simple teaching has been like a small stone on the path or a soft petal falling on still water. Each has its own kind of beauty, and each changes us, quietly, in ways we may not even notice at first. Now, if you look back on your own journey, maybe since the first moment you watched one of these stories or first wondered about peace, can you notice a change? Maybe your worries are softer, your kindness stronger, your heart more open to all kinds of feelings, friends, and hopes. Maybe you treat yourself more gently or listen to others with more patience. Even a single act of attention, a brief moment when you remember to breathe, belongs to you forever. This is transformation. It is quiet, but it is real. Buddha always said that these teachings are not to be worshipped, but to be used, as a lantern is used to find your way in the dark, or as a gentle song is sung to comfort a child. Knowing a teaching by heart is not enough. Try it. Be kind. Notice the moment. Forgive a hurt, share something small, or sit in the soft silence of your own breath. Every day is a new start, a chance to live the stories, not just hear them. The most important lesson is that wisdom and healing are never finished. They are journeys, not places. There will be days you forget, days you fall short, days you feel far away from kindness or peace. This is not failure. The Buddha would gently smile and remind you, every step is a step on the path. When you wander, simply return. Begin again as many times as you need. The journey never ends. You may wish to share what you have learned, the gentle art of kindness, the patience to forgive, the courage to face a new day. Each time you share, even in small ways, you continue the circle of healing, just as the Buddha's earliest students did. If you smile at a stranger or comfort a friend, if you pause before speaking in anger, if you thank the world for a sunrise or rain, you are living the Buddha's way. All across the world, since ancient times, people have walked this path, some in temples, some in busy cities, some as children, some as elders. No one way is better, and no one is ever truly alone. The journey is there for anyone, anytime, anywhere, even right now as you read these words. Now, as the day draws to a calm and peaceful close, one last story for you. A wise old woman once asked the Buddha, "How will I know when I have finished learning?" The Buddha smiled, pointing to the moon's reflection in a pond. When you see the moon in every puddle, know it is already shining in you. There is no finish, only the next gentle step, and the next. Each is enough. So, dear friend, wherever your life leads, carry these stories like seeds in your pocket. Plant them with every gentle act. Trust in your ability to live with love, wisdom, courage, and peace. Celebrate your own journey and the journeys of all those around you. And as we come to the end of this series, remember you are always welcome here, just as you are, always learning, always growing, always enough. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Wisdom Woven. Your support helps share these healing stories with many more hearts, shining light into the world, one step, one story, one gentle day at a time. Now let us rest for a moment, noticing the quiet joy inside. As soft as a breath, the journey continues, and you are never alone. Thank you, and may peace walk beside you, always.